Dirt. With me is Bulldog. We are going to be prepared. You have just tuned in for Emerald City versus Auld Reekie Roller Girls at the Big O, Day 3, coming out of Eugene, Oregon. We have Emerald City, the home league host of this tournament, playing the team from farthest away, Edinburgh, Scotland, Auld Reekie Roller Girls Twisted Thistles. Should be one heck of a bout. I know Auld Reekie coming in, winning 2 games yesterday. Tight ones. They were not expected to win, heavy underdog, but came back and won it. Emerald City with a good tournament so far, beating Humboldt yesterday. So I look forward to this bout. Real quick, let's read through the rosters. We'll start with Emerald City. Number 10, Genesis of Sin. Number 11, To Natural. Number 12, Aerial Strike. 1, 2, 3, Psychotic Rage. 1771, Gemini. 222, Spunky Bruiser. 262, Wonder Dread. 270, Lady Bullseye. 442, Patty Sutherland. 462, Pirate Booty. 51, Coop. 7, Ogden. 828, Zonan the Barbarian. 83, Rex Havoc. 94, Red Ruckus. And 96, Boylan.
The Auld Reekie Roller Girls Twisted Thistles. We've got number 11, Crazy Legs. Number 11, Admiral Attack Bar. Number 16, Velocity. Number 2, Kiki Pearson, who won't be skating today. Number 264, Pope John Brawl. Number 3, Ciderella. Not Cinderella, yes. Ciderella, number 3. Number 34, Double Destruction. Number 39, Yin and Bang. Number 626, Lilo and Stitches. Number 66, Moby Quick. Number 7, Mini Riot. Number 85, Skinner Alive. Number 87, Caitlin O'Carroll. And number 893, Bint Imperial.
All right, we're getting ready to start here momentarily. Should be one heck of a bout. Flat Track Stats gives this as an 85% for Emerald City, but I think that Auld Reekie has come into this surprising a lot of people. A couple of upsets they did yesterday, a lot of high energy on this Twisted Thistles team. Look forward to this bout. I'm hoping it's a close one, and as always, I'm rooting for Team Overtime.
That's right. Well, right now, yeah, as you said, according to Flat Track Stats, these teams, it's actually favoring Emerald City. But currently, on the current WFTDA standings, Auld Reekie is actually ranked higher, significantly higher, about 13 places higher. So this could actually be a very crucial game for Auld Reekie to win because of that. Because right now Emerald City a little bit suppressed in the rankings, because it's going to be updated at the end of the month. Oh, I was going by what's on the website.
Oh, silly me. This was what was on the website the other day. Emerald City 57, Auld Reekie 93. But that was on Thursday. Lots of things changing. What's going on out there, Bulldog?
Admiral Attack Bar is lead jammer. We've got a 4-on-3 pack advantage with Psychotic Rage, number 123, jamming for Emerald City. She's had to recycle behind Velocity, and Bint Imperial with a shoulder sends Psychotic Rage out again. Recycling again. Psychotic Rage just skating in circles right now against a very tough Auld Reekie defense, but gets past Pope John Brawl. Velocity picks her up in the front, but Psychotic Rage able to get out and complete her initial pass, but there goes an Admiral Attack Bar getting past Amber Coop, number 51 of Emerald City, and a grand slam. That puts Auld Reekie on the board, 5-0.
Oh, great first jam, opening high energy, a lot of good blocking. Emerald City, though, not able to get their jammer out of the pack until it was too late. Sealed the deal for a 5-0 run. Good play by Auld Reekie. Get the points, call it off, shut the door behind you.
Caitlin O'Carroll jamming for Auld Reekie. And that is Wonder Dread, number 262, jamming for Emerald City. Emerald City in the white with green trim. Auld Reekie in the black with green trim. Skinner Alive unable to catch Wonder Dread, and Wonder Dread is lead jammer. Caitlin O'Carroll hammered by a shoulder from Genesis of Sin, but Genesis of Sin falling down. Caitlin O'Carroll able to come back in. Of course, does not get lead jammer because Wonder Dread is already up there. Gets past Yin and Bang and Skinner Alive of Auld Reekie and calls it off just in time. 4-0 Emerald City.
Yeah, that was close. Almost managed to give away some points. Her coach over on the sideline telling her, you got to call that off faster and a little more aggressive. So it's I always get nervous watching teams come in, letting that jammer get almost to the back of the pack, because you let that happen and the referee hiccups or sneezes, they're going to miss it and you're going to give up 4 points.
Kelly Boylan jamming for Emerald City, but gets a back block penalty. She's going to the box, and it's going to be a power jam for Lilo and Stitches, number 626 of Auld Reekie. She gets past Lady Bullseye and Gemini and is lead jammer.
Coop also heading off to the penalty box, so a 3-4 power jam. Pack advantage for Auld Reekie Twisted Thistles.
Lilo and Stitches on her first scoring pass of the power jam, gets around Gemini. It's picked up by Lady Bullseye in the front, and to Natural, number 11 of Emerald City, forced out of bounds, and she's going to get recycled a little bit. No, she doesn't recycle enough. The referee calls cutting the track. Kelly Boylan's going to be released a little bit early. She served most of her penalties. She was already standing when Lilo and Stitches sat down. 27-26 sentence. I liked what Auld Reekie was doing. They were getting a goat at the back of the pack, holding that there, slowing the pack down. Now Emerald City with the stand and attack, and by attack I mean stand. A little passive offense on their power jam now as she goes around for round 2. Yeah, since they're playing against the Scots, that's not a double sausage, it's a double haggis. But by Emerald City right now. Now we've got Kelly Boylan and, well, you laughed a little bit at that.
Mini bangers.
Kelly Boylan against a triple. That's a Crazy Legs velocity and double destruction in Delta formation on point for Auld Reekie, and doing a very good job holding back Kelly Boylan. They kill the penalty, and Lilo and Stitches back on the track. So no more power jam. Kelly Boylan only getting a 1 scoring pass.
Amazing penalty kill work by Auld Reekie, and still that Delta holding up, just creeping forward to avoid those stop block calls, and finally comes to an end. 5-3 on that pass.
All right, now I'm looking at the WFTDA website. They're at 104th Emerald City currently, whereas Auld Reekie at 97. So I actually overestimated a little bit. There was actually only 7 places.
All right.
But Flat Track Stats, as I understand, has a different rating, and probably a more current rating, because the WFTDA website doesn't yet include recent games. Admiral Attack Bar jamming, number 1111 for Auld Reekie, knocked down by Zonan the Barbarian, and there goes Psychotic Rage, getting away from Moby Quick and Caitlin O'Carroll to gain clinch lead jammer for Emerald City. And a leap across the infield, and that was actually across the apex proper. She came in sliding in, but did land inbounds and got all 4 points. Huge
move there by Psychotic Rage. Didn't stick the landing, but did get both feet down inbounds, and followed by the rest of her down inbounds. Each team now with 2 lead jammers. Great work. We got 10-11. Emerald with the 1-point lead 6 minutes into this game. Amazing derby. Thanks for turning in to WFTDA.tv or thebigotournament.com.
Yeah, when you leap the apex, it doesn't have to be pretty. You just have to touch wheels first.
Exactly.
Vint Imperial around the outside, gets a glancing blow from Amber Coop, but a crushing shoulder from Natural, but Natural stumbling down. Vint Imperial had her hips in front of Natural before she came in with that shoulder check, so Vint Imperial did get out with lead jammer, and now sneak attack. That was a Lady Bullseye missing with a shoulder check. Vint Imperial calling it off. 4 points, Auld Reekie.
Auld Reekie with a great transition game on there, holding up the jammer for Emerald City very well. And as soon as they saw their jammer coming, opened a hole. Crazy Legs with a nice hit on that, opening the door. She shoots through and picks up an easy 4, and Auld Reekie back in the lead.
Both teams at full strength. Ariel Ogden, number 7, jamming for Emerald City in the white jersey. against Lilo and Stitches, number 626 in the black jersey for Auld Reekie. Lilo and Stitches getting the way cleared somewhat by Velocity, but forced out by Rex Havoc and Zonan the Barbarian. Aerial Strike finishing her off. Up front, Ariel Ogden for Emerald City gets out and clinches lead jammer. Lilo and Stitches following her out, but it's about a half a lap behind. Ariel Ogden hits the back on a scoring pass, forced out immediately by Velocity of Auld Reekie. But Ariel Ogden is going to get 3.
That was Ogden's first jam so far in this, picking up 3 points. Good work by Emerald. Back and forth. Now we have a tie game.
Kelly Boylan jamming for Emerald City. Admiral Attack Bar on the line for Auld Reekie.
Admiral Attack Bar so far 3 jams, only 1 lead though. This will be her 3rd, but has picked up 5 points.
Kelly Boylan stumbling over a fallen Ciderella. Referees don't call anything, but Kelly Boylan now stumbling over Crazy Legs, and this time they do call the low block. So I think Ciderella might have gotten a little lucky on that one, but not so much Crazy Legs. Her leg went wide.
Crazy Legs did lead Auld Reekie in penalty minutes last year for the Twisted Thistle. So not surprising, but trying to make herself effective.
That's right. I think she had a badge made up for her to wear on her sleeve. She's pretty. But Kelly Boylan gets lead jammer now on her first scoring pass. Admiral Attack Bar getting stifled in at the front of the pack. Lady Bullseye, Amber Coop, and Gemini in that familiar Delta formation. And now To Natural coming in to help out as Lady Bullseye goes to the penalty box. So
To Natural with a high block on that, along with a multiplayer block called before. Emerald City only with 2 blockers on the floor.
But both teams showing tremendous defense so far. Kelly Boylan had to work really hard to get past the Auld Reekie defense. And now Emerald City, the only 1 blocker on the track.
Boylan waited too long to call that jam off, calls it, but too late. Twisted Thistle's picking up another 4. Looked over, thought she had time, did not. Deceptive speed of these Auld Reekie skaters.
So Auld Reekie catching a little bit of a lucky break there.
18 to 23 advantage Emerald City right now.
Caitlin O'Carroll jamming for Auld Reekie in the black jersey as always. And in the white jersey for Emerald City, it's Psychotic Rage, number 123. Mini Riot can't hold her back. Psychotic Rage moving up into a 2-wall, now a 3-wall of Bint Imperial, Skinner Alive, and Mini Riot slides around the outside, gets past Yin and Bang as well. No, she doesn't. She stepped out of bounds. That's a cutting the track power jam for Auld Reekie. Caitlin O'Carroll, the Auld Reekie jammer, has gotten lead jammer to boot. So now moving into the first scoring pass of the power jam.
Caitlin O'Carroll out there. Previous jam did not score. It was a shut the door behind you, but now out there on a power jam. Auld Reekie going to try and open up a hole. Very nice defensive or offensive work. I really am enjoying this Twisted Thistles team.
To Natural and Lady Bullseye, and now Genesis O'Sin up for Emerald City. Caitlin O'Carroll jukes to the inside of Genesis O'Sin, completes the pass for 4. No, only, well, oh yeah, his thumb is out. That is a grand slam, and calls off the jam. But Emerald City does get their jammer out of the box.
That's going to tie the game 23 all. So far 50-50 on lead jammer, each team having 4. But Auld Reekie with 2 power jams to only 1 for Emerald City. And Auld Reekie's defense worked great on that one, holding them to just 1 pass.
Lilo and Stitches, number 626, jamming for Auld Reekie. As Wonder Dread jamming for Emerald City gets forced out of bounds by Crazy Legs. That's the recycle to the back. Bounces off a shoulder from Book John Brawl. Knocked out of bounds by Ciderella. There goes Lilo and Stitches, the Auld Reekie jammer, out of the pack for lead. Wonder Dread squeezes around Crazy Legs to complete her initial pass, but Lilo and Stitches now on a scoring pass. Amber Coop and Rex Havoc trying to stop her on the outside. Do a pretty good job. She calls off the jam though before Wonder Dread can get around. 3 points, Auld Reekie.
Great track crack. There we go. Words are hard. Their good track awareness by Lilo and Stitch is seeing where the opposing jammer was, calling it off with plenty of time, takes those 3 points and closes the door for Emerald. That's why Old Reekie is ahead 26-23.
That's right. First time in the lead for all. Were they in the lead after the
They
first
were in the
game?
lead very
Yes.
briefly earlier, but we've had back and forth action this whole game, Bulldog. Amazing work by both these teams.
Well, I'm glad one of us is paying attention to the score. We've got an Admiral Attack Bar, number 11 jamming for Old Reekie against Kelly Boylan, who falls down going into turn 1. Now, Mini Riot in her way, but she falls down as well. Admiral Attack Bar just narrowly avoiding a shoulder from Amber Coop. Gets out for lead jammer, Old Reekie. And Kelly Boylan narrowly avoiding cutting the track and gets out of the pack.
Admiral Attack Bar now in her 4th jam, now 2 lead jams, so running 50%. Already picked up 9 points previously.
Admiral Attack Bar gets through, and it's 4 points. Kelly Boylan on a scoring pass to try and match those points as well. Crazy Legs and Skinner Alive, the rear guard. Velocity and Mini Riot backing them up. Kelly Boylan runs into Crazy Legs and bounces right back, not making any progress. Now a little bit of defensive jamming from Kelly Boylan, but finds an opening on the inside. Admiral Attack Bar follows her right through and gets a grand slam. Kelly Boylan on her first scoring pass getting 4, but Admiral Attack Bar, that was her second, so 9 points for Old Reekie.
Old Reekie spoke to me before the game. I'd like to pass on this message. Bulletproof Glass, thank you for coaching everyone while we're away. And they would also like to send their love to all the Old Reekie roller girls watching and supporting the league back home. A big hug and kiss from each and every one of them.
Psychotic Rage jamming for Emerald City. Too fast for Ciderella and Double Destruction. She gets out for lead jammer. Caitlin O'Carroll recycled to the rear of the pack, back to the jammer line as Psychotic Rage hits the pack on a scoring pass. Forced out of bounds, she gets recycled by Bint Imperial. Caitlin O'Carroll, though, still on her initial pass. Lady Bullseye, Aerial Strike, and Rex Havoc matching every move across the track as Psychotic Rage gets away from Double Destruction. It's a grand slam for Emerald City.
35-32 right now. Caitlin O'Carroll out there having a heck of a time getting out of the pack. Finally does. Psychotic Rage draws the cut, though. Now we've got another power jam, Bulldog, for Old Reekie.
And she's got a full minute. Well, it's going to be a 30-second power jam, of course, but we will go the full 2 minutes. No lead jammer remaining in this jam. Caitlin O'Carroll is on her first scoring pass. Lady Bullseye and Aerial Strike in a 2-wall at the front. Rex Havoc and Genesis of Sin are bridging back to the double haggis of Old Reekie. But Caitlin O'Carroll had to fight for it, but gets through. But that was a good penalty kill so far by Emerald City. They drew a lot of time, and now Psychotic Rage already standing in the penalty box. 5 points for Old Reekie. Second scoring pass. Genesis of Sin forces out Caitlin O'Carroll out of bounds, but gets a penalty. Caitlin O'Carroll comes in, didn't see Rex Havoc, and Rex Havoc stepped right behind her. Caitlin O'Carroll now giving up a power jam to Emerald City.
Rex Havoc had tried that in the last pass through, but Caitlin O'Carroll managed to step in just behind her and choose forward. Rex didn't see it, so tries it again, and this time strikes pay dirt in the form of a power jam for Emerald City.
This time, Psychotic Rage manages to come back in behind. Now, Mini Riot actually knocked her out of bounds briefly. Just 1 foot went out, but she came back in so quickly that Mini Riot didn't even see that she had not drawn the cut. And it looks like she's going to match some points that was scored by Caitlin O'Carroll.
43-37 right now. Old Reekie with a slight edge on lead jammers, 6-5. 55% to 45%, and power jams 3-2. But the Emerald City Roller Girls are going to start with a power jam right now.
Wonder Dread, number 262, jamming for Emerald City. Caitlin O'Carroll now standing up in the penalty box, but Wonder Dread gets through with a quickness. Lead jammer to Emerald City. Emerald City in the white jerseys and at full strength. Old Reekie with all 4 blockers on the track. Pope John Brawl making first contact with Wonder Dread. Now Crazy Legs, Pope John Brawl, and Bint Imperial in a Delta formation. Ciderella is cautiously watching and is making sure to maintain a bridge to extend them. She's not engaging the jammer. She's actually monitoring things from outside and available to help her jammer, which she does. She picks off Gemini. Caitlin O'Carroll gets all the way to the front. Amber Coop makes a great effort but stumbles. Caitlin O'Carroll completes the pass. Here comes Wonder Dread. She's on her second scoring pass now. Already got one grand slam. That put them within 1 point of Auld Reekie.
3-0 advantage Emerald City on that. That's going to take us to 43-45. Emerald City again with a very small lead.
It was an 8-point jam for Emerald City, putting them in the lead.
Amazing work. I'm very pleased with this game so far. For one thing, so much green, but these two teams trading hits back and forth, each of them working primarily in that delta formation, and a lot of great action so far.
Admiral Attack Bar jukes behind a hip check from Rex Havoc to clear the pack. Gets lead jammer. Ariel Ogden, number 7 for Emerald City, gets away from Mini Riot to complete her initial pass. And now Admiral Attack Bar dodges past Rex Havoc, no touch there. Forces her way past Genesis Ascent and calls off the jam. 4 points Auld Reekie, and that puts them back in the lead. So we're just trading off the lead.
That's 5 jams for Admiral Attack Bar right now. Got lead in 3 of them, so pretty good percentage for her. A lot of get 3 points, get 4 points, close the door behind her, and that's really working so far for Auld Reekie because they're back in the lead yet again.
Yeah, and I was saying before, Emerald City is a little bit suppressed. They will likely move up in the next recalculations, but to be fair, Auld Reekie a little suppressed as well.
I believe so.
After their performance this weekend against Tucson and Sac City, they're very likely to move up a little bit in the rankings themselves. There goes Lilo and Stitches getting lead jammer. Looks like a Gemini going to the penalty box for Emerald City to join Lady Bullseye. So only 2 blockers on the track for Emerald City right now. Lilo and Stitches forced out of bounds by Amber Coop, and to Natural calls off the jam from outside. Is going to settle for 3, but nothing for Emerald City.
Lilo and Stitches now with 11 points total in this game. Waiting for those 3 points to show up on the scoreboard here. We would like to thank Eugene for hosting this. Emerald City puts on one heck of a tournament. I can't say how happy I am with the Big O. There they go, now they're on the board. So a timeout taken Emerald, now down by 5, 10 minutes, 43 seconds left in the first period. I think they want to just make sure they get on the same page. Auld Reekie, the team coming the furthest to get to the Big O. We also have Kokishi here from Japan. Teams from Texas, Missouri, Philadelphia, all over the world. The beautiful growth of roller derby. Auld Reekie with 8 lead jammers to 6 for Emerald City, even with 3 power jams each, and Auld Reekie averaging 13 points per jam versus 10 for Emerald City. Points per power jam, excuse me. So Auld Reekie doing a little bit better on the power jam. Looks like Emerald City doing just a little bit better on the 5-on-5, or 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 4-on-2, with both jammers on the floor is what I'm saying.
Math is hard. Wonder Dread jamming for Emerald City up the inside, but Bint Imperial, number 893 for Auld Reekie, beats her out for lead jammer, but only about 5 strides ahead of the Emerald City jammer.
Bint Imperial on her second jam has gotten lead jam both times, calls it off before picking up any points right there, so she'll stay at a total of 4. Wonder Dread with 12 points so far, also no points on that one. Score will remain 50-45.
I think these teams are from all over the world. I think they represent a total of 6 time zones.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So I think it's about 1/4 of the world.
I believe you're right.
If you slice it like an orange.
Ooh.
Now we've got an Admiral attack bar jamming for Auld Reekie, but Psychotic Rage is able to sneak by. Admiral attack bar was generating so much excitement in the pack, so much chaos, that everyone focused on her. When it shifted to the outside, Psychotic Rage just said, oh, okay, nobody's here, I'll go up the inside.
Big open lane, I'll go for it, and she's going to call that jam off. Only 2 points, so the lead will stay the same, but only by 3 now. Auld Reekie shut off goose egg on that one.
That was a good effort by Admiral Attack Bar. Not so successful at getting lead jammer, but such a strong and dynamic jammer. She's also able to get through very tiny spots, and she's got really powerful, real powerhouse of just a really athletic frame on that tiny body. She just gets right out there, and it just goes through any opening, and she can take a beating too. Also
keeps her legs churning while they're in the pack. I don't see her standing still while she's in there. If you keep your legs moving, you're more likely to get through the pack and draw penalties from people that are standing there.
That's true, but Kelly Boylan busts her way past Mini Riot. Lilo and Stitches going to the penalty box on a cutting the track penalty, so Kelly Boylan on the power jam.
Power jam stats haven't been as positive for Emerald, but they're on one now, and they're picking up points right now. 5 of them up in the sky for Boylan.
The Crazy Legs coming back onto the track as a blocker, but she gets shunted off by Genesis of Sin and is not a factor as Kelly Boylan moves it. But Kelly Boylan gets the cutting. It's going to be a jammer swap out. Lilo and Stitch is already standing, so Kelly Boylan will serve at least a little over 20 seconds of that penalty.
Mini Riot, I believe, drew the cut on that. She got knocked out of bound, Boylan did, and then came in just in front of Mini Riot. So nice work by her, drawing that, swapping out the power jams.
And now Emerald City losing a blocker as well. Rex Havoc to the penalty box. Now Ariel Ogden, number 7 of Emerald City, one-on-one with Lilo and Stitches, holding on with every ounce that she could muster, but Lilo and Stitches fighting her way past, completes her initial pass. So no scoring passes for Auld Reekie on the power jam. I think that was 1.5 for Kelly Boylan. Kelly Boylan is on her 2nd scoring pass of this jam. They have a 2-point lead right now on the scoreboard, but both jammers are on scoring passes. Lilo and Stitches gets through and gets a grand slam. She started that scoring pass before Kelly Boylan returned to play, and now it's another power jam. Kelly Boylan back in the penalty box, so Lilo Stitches getting another chance, another stab at this power jam. Lady Bullseye comes in at the last inch and forces Lilo and Stitches out, but she does get all 5 points. Kelly Boylan picking up 3 before she goes to the box.
Amazing work on the power jam by both these teams. Auld Reekie still ahead by 5, consistently right around 5 right now. But lead jammers right now favoring Auld Reekie only by 1, 9 versus 8. And each team with 4 power jams and 18 points each on the power jam.
Bint Imperial finds a wide open inside lane. Amber Coop looking the wrong way. Gemini wasn't looking at all. They just were concentrating on that right lane, and Bint Imperial just snuck on by. She says, but she has the jammer cap on, so she's scoring points right now. First scoring pass for Auld Reekie. 4-wall at the front. Lady Bullseye, Gemini, Psychotic Rage, and Amber Coop. Amber Coop with the shoulder, stopping Bint Imperial. But a quick juke to the inside, and she's through.
Gemini going off for a cutting the track, and now we have a panty pass. Psychotic Rage being given the star cap, trying to still get it on right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, Kelly Boylan with a little bit of bad luck regarding penalties in the last jam, so now she's just not going to let that happen again. Not going to take any chances. Passes it immediately to Psychotic Rage so they can get a fresh jammer in, and some jammer-on-jammer contact. Bint Imperial sent flying by Psychotic Rage.
I see a skating out of bounds call coming on Bint Imperial. We'll find out if that continues to go through or if she made contact. No, she didn't make contact with anyone. She just skated out of bounds. You can't do that, so she's going to go sit down in the sin bin. And so she'll sit down, and this will now be a power jam for Emerald City. And we're going to go back to being even 5-on-5 for power jams.
Now we've got Wonder Dread, number 262, jamming on the power jam for Emerald City. Velocity and Skinner Alive run out of room. They separate out, and Skinner Alive is going to get an out-of-play major. So that drops Auld Reekie to only 3 blockers. Emerald City at full strength. Wonder Dread hits the pack with a lot of speed. Mini Riot and Velocity absorb some of it, but Wonder Dread, the momentum carries her on through. Grand slam for Emerald City in their first scoring pass of this power jam. Now Mini Riot going to the box, so Moby Quick and Velocity unable to stop her.
Emerald City with a nice delay all the way back. Again, force her to recycle, take another 30-foot worth of steps to get back. Oh, and a big pile up there as Wonder Dread shoots through for an easy 5 points. Emerald City coming on strong here in the late part of the first period.
Wonder Dread rounds Velocity, the only blocker in play for Auld Reekie at that moment, and gets 4 more to close out the jam. And a scoreboard doesn't, yeah, there it is. 74 points for Emerald City, 70 for Auld Reekie.
Another lead change, and Emerald City goes back in the lead. Oddly Bulldog, each team with 5 power jams and 23 points on power jams. So that not being a factor right now, we're seeing a lot of back and forth play, 74 to 70, 3:20 left in the period.
So far, very, very closely matched teams. Aerial Ogden jamming for Emerald City, but Admiral Attack Bar gets out first. Aerial Ogden, though, shaking off Crazy Legs to get out right behind Admiral Attack Bar. But Admiral Attack Bar in control with lead.
Admiral Attack Bar in her 7th jam out there. So far, lead jammer in 4 of them has picked up 22 points, and that's before she gets to the pack here.
Mini Riot rejoins her Auld Reekie teammate, so now it is 3-on-3 in the pack. Admiral Attack Bar calling off the jam. Oh, she's going to get a 3-2 decision, so only a +1 differential for Auld Reekie. That leaves Emerald City in the lead.
Great bout between these two. Just a 3-point difference as we're 2.5 minutes left before we get to halftime. These two teams are incredibly evenly matched. I am very pleased with the performance of both of them. They've each been playing good offensive and defensive blocking. They're both working with that delta formation, and it's working out pretty well controlling the blockers.
It's possible that both teams have a similar weakness to the Green Lantern, only possibly the opposite.
Oh, speaking of Sinestro, they moved the line and are cutting the track, so we've got another power jam for Emerald City. Psychotic Rage now with the power jam. This is Emerald City's 6th power jam here in the first period.
Skinner Alive with a great block with the hip. Psychotic Rage trying to clip a little bit off the infield, but Skinner Alive was right there. Spunky Bruiser coming along trying to move Skinner Alive out of the way. But Psychotic Rage able to just blast past a hip check from Skinner Alive and get through.
And they do manage to ice the jammer. Lilo and Stitch is going to stay in the penalty box, though she is standing. Will give you a slight advantage to Emerald City. Now at 85 to Auld Reekie 73. Just over a minute left in the period. 86, excuse me, period, as the points get added.
Please welcome Wonder Dread.
It's like Wonder Dread, who's been out there for 7 jams. This will be her 7th jam. 50% lead so far.
4-on-4 in the pack. Lilo and Stitches only standing in the box for a couple of seconds before she's released. But Emerald City drawing her all the way, almost out of turn 3. But Wonder Dread hangs on, stays in bounds, and gets away from Crazy Legs in this lead jammer. Lilo and Stitches sent back to the penalty box, another cutting the track, so another power jam for Emerald City. Wonder Dread on her first scoring pass. Caitlin O'Carroll now the only blocker in the way and runs out of room. Wonder Dread getting a grand slam.
That is now 36 points for Wonder Dread out there. Over a third of Emerald's points have been scored by Wonder Dread.
And this time, meeting very little resistance, gets past Pope John, Brawl, Ciderella, and Caitlin O'Carroll for another grand slam. for Emerald City.
Auld Reekie going to have to spend the time out during the intermission talking about keeping their jammers on the track, especially at the end of this. Now giving up a couple extra. It was even for most of the period, but now giving up a couple of big power jams towards the end, a couple unfortunate penalties on Lilo and Stitches, and Emerald breaks the century mark.
Gemini dropping back to bridge to hold Lilo and Stitches inside of the engagement zone, allowing Amber, Coop, Lady Bullseye, and Zonan the Barbarian to continue stopping Lilo and Stitches, but they eventually run out of room. Lilo and Stitches only completing her initial pass, though. But Wonder Dread only getting in for 2, and that is the end of the half.
So that's going to go to the half. We're going to wind up with a final score, 103-73 at halftime. So, yeah, not the final score. It's not official until it's official, and then we got another half an hour of play. And I look forward to another next period here. I think a big thing we have for stats right now, lead jammer, just a big thing as always, but tied right now at 11 each. We've got 7 power jams to 5 on Emerald City, and those 2 extra ones right at the end of the period on Lilo and Stitches. That's what's given Emerald the lead right now. 47 points on power jams compared to 23 for Auld Reekie. So right there is what's going to be your difference between Emerald City and Auld Reekie. Auld Reekie keep their skaters on the floor for the next half, and I think we got some work to do.
That's right. Those 2 power jams allowed Emerald City to rocket from 3 points ahead to 30 points ahead at the half. So very interested to see what happens in the second half.
Me too. All right, we're going to go to halftime. We'll be back here in about 8 minutes or so. I'm Phil Dirt. We're here with Bulldog. We'll be back at you shortly.
Are you guys ready for some more interviews?
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I am Phil Dirt here with Bulldog. Auld Reekie versus Emerald City at the 3rd day of the Big O tournament. Run through some stats prepared by the amazing Mike Checks. Lead jammer tied 50-50 across the board. Auld Reekie and Emerald City with 11 each. Power jams, the difference we saw right at the end of that period, 7 for Emerald City, only 5 for Auld Reekie. And the points off the power jam, 23 to 47. So big, that's where Emerald City's lead is coming from. Our leading scorers so far, we've got Admiral Attack Bar with 25 points and 7 jams, and Blint Imperial with 75% lead jammers. Emerald City, we've got Wonder Dread leading with 49 points and 7 jams, and her and Psychotic Rage each at 50% lead jammer. So I'm looking forward to another great period of action. I think the key right now for Auld Reekie, keep their jammer on the floor for both teams, really. They've each given away quite a few power jams, but Auld Reekie's cost them the lead and allowed Emerald City to pull away to a decent-sized lead, 30 points as we start the second period. So they can do that, control their penalties, keep their defense up. One of these teams, well, they should be able to hold on.
First up for Emerald City is Admiral Attack Bar, who dodges back and forth around Rex Havoc and Amber Coop to get lead jammer. Psychotic Rage number 1, 2, 3 comes around the outside and counter checks Velocity to get out of the back, but half a lap behind Admiral Attack Bar. But Emerald City speeds up the pack. Rex Havoc screened off by the Auld Reekie blockers, and Admiral Attack Bar calls off the jam, but not in time. 2 to 3 in favor of Emerald City.
So Emerald City will now be up 31 points. Amazing work by Emerald City on that. Speaking of amazing outcomes, Wonder Dread to jam for Emerald City, one of their premier jammers here for the Emerald City All-Stars.
Bint Imperial jamming for Auld Reekie. Auld Reekie in the black jerseys, Emerald City in the white jerseys. Lady Bullseye was standing in the penalty box at the start of the jam, but now comes back in. So Emerald City back to full strength, 5-on-5 right now. But up front, Wonder Dread getting away from Skinner Alive and Mini Riot to get lead jammer for Emerald City. Bint Imperial continues to get recycled by the Emerald City defense. Difficulty just penetrating the back, and now rammed down to the ground by Genesis O'Sin. Bint Imperial picks herself back up, gets to the inside of Lady Bullseye, but she still manages to cut her off. And then Genesis O'Sin driving Bint Imperial out of bounds. She has to recycle yet again, still on her initial pass. Wonder Dread getting past Auld Reekie for a grand slam. 5 points so far for Emerald City.
Amazing work out there by Emerald City so far. Finally let the jammer go, but held the jammer up for almost a full minute before she completed her initial task. And Wonder Dread going to stop any points from being scored, so 1-0 at the end there. We would like to give a shout out here to Bint Imperial's mom, Valerie, who stayed up until 5 a.m. last night to watch them play and who has been an amazing supporter of the Twisted Thistles. They love you very much. So a big shout out to Bint Imperial's mom,
who may or may not be watching this, as she could also be unconscious asleep.
Not sure if it was 5 a.m. our time or their time. I'm guessing. I don't know what time it is there. I only barely know what time it is here. So
I'm pretty sure it was 5 o'clock a.m. their time. That game actually ended around 9 o'clock our time, and they're 8 hours ahead. So that sounds about right. 5 o'clock. Admiral Attack Bar's lead jammer for Auld Reekie. Around the outside, comes through clean for Auld Reekie. 4 points and nothing for Emerald City. This time, she gets it right.
Auld Reekie going to have to keep that kind of behavior up. Admiral Attack Bar, very good calling that off and finding some wide open lanes. You couldn't see him until she skated through him, so amazing vision on the track by Admiral Attack Bar. She can sense when a trap is coming.
Is the shield still up? Kelly Boylan jamming for Emerald City. Running into traffic. Velocity, Skinner Alive, and Mini Riot holding on. Caitlin O'Carroll jamming for Auld Reekie. Ariel Ogden running into her. Now it's a Delta formation. Rex Havoc, Patty Sutherland, and Genesis O'Sin, and Ariel Ogden making it 4. An extended Delta. I don't know. We'll come up with a name for that, and a Delta with a leg. I don't know.
Leg Delta.
We're grasping at straws here, but Kelly Boylan coming up on a scoring pass. She's lead jammer, but Caitlin O'Carroll behind her. And Kelly Boylan sees her in time. Only going to get 1 point for Emerald City, though.
Well, these nickel, dimes, and pennies do add up. 113 to 79. Lead jammers still split right down the middle, 13-13, each team with 50%. So that not being a factor, big factor still those 2 power jams, but Auld Reekie been holding it together, keeping their jammer on the floor so far here in the second period.
Another factor potentially is 2 blockers in the penalty box for Emerald City. That leaves Amber, Coop, and Lady Bullseye defending all by themselves against Admiral Attack Bar. They knock her out of bounds. She comes back in quickly, but Wonder Dread overcoming Yin and Bang in the front. Gets out just ahead of Admiral Attack Bar and takes lead.
These are the 2 heavy-duty jammers out there. Admiral Attack Bar with 31 points, Wonder Dread with 55 points already.
And Wonder Dread trying to do a little defensive jamming, but now Lady Bullseye stops Admiral Attack Bar in her tracks, but goes out of bounds herself.
With only 1 blocker on the floor there for a second, there was a no pass, no penalty. So Admiral Attack Bar, while did complete her pass, picked up a goose egg on it because she got knocked out of bounds, as did the Emerald City blocker. So no points scored during that pass.
That's right. It was an opportunity. In that situation, she should have recycled anyway, even though she knew she wouldn't get a penalty.
Exactly. The only person she had to score on, because she would have, 1 would have got you 4, but instead she gets the goose egg on that one. So it stays 117-79. Emerald City increasing that lead by another 4 points.
Yeah, just a little bit of bad luck because her reflexes normally were exactly right. except that that just cost the ghost points. Bint Imperial, though, having no trouble getting through the pack, gets the lead jammer now on a scoring pass, runs into Amber Coop, bounces off a hip check, runs now into Genesis Osin and Gemini. Genesis Osin forcing her out of bounds. The Emerald City jammer Psychotic Rage just completing her initial pass, getting around Skinner Alive and Mini Riot as Bint Imperial gets through that inside lane. Grand slam and calls it off. A 5-0 jam, Auld Reekie.
Genesis Osin has been doing such an amazing job out there for Emerald City. Her transition game, going from defense to offense, is very, very good and spot on. She'll be blocking, block that jammer, hey, it's my jammer, open a hole, quickly go back to blocking the jammer without missing a beat. Genesis Osin, amazing work out there for Emerald City.
Now we've got Ariel Ogden jamming for Emerald City in the white jersey, and Admiral Attack Bar number 1111 in the black jersey for Auld Reekie. Both teams at full strength, and we've got a mega globular cluster of a pack right now. I was just reading something about astronomy during the break.
Okay.
Now we've got Ariel Ogden up front, Crazy Legs and Velocity trying to hold on. Crazy Legs forces her out of bounds and recycles her back behind the pack. Admiral Attack Bar breaking free and stealing lead jammer away from Ariel Ogden. But both jammers on their way around.
Both these jammers doing a good job finding that open hole right through there. Oh, and again, Admiral Attack Bar gets straight through the pack and immediately starts calling it off, knowing where Ogden was. Ogden goose egg, 4 points for Auld Reekie on that as they decreased the lead just a little bit to 29 points now, 117-88. Auld Reekie now with a 1 lead jammer advantage, 15-14 in this bout.
Again, we see Emerald City with 2 blockers in the penalty box. That leaves only Gemini and Amber Coop on the track to defend against Bint Imperial of Auld Reekie. She gets around both of the blockers and clears the pack with lead jammer status. But Wonder Dread.
This is the transfer game I'm talking about, Bulldog. They were blocking the jammer. As soon as she got through, they opened up a hole, and Wonder Dread able to take advantage of that and get out of the pack.
Very nimble jammer for Emerald City was able to force the call off, but it is a 4-0 jam. So Auld Reekie still getting some positive differentials.
Now with the advantage of 2 lead jammers, the last 2, it looks like Emerald City is going to take a timeout now. The last couple jams, they've gone down 8 points. We have a 25-point difference, 117-92. 19 points for Auld Reekie in the second period here, 14 for Emerald City. So Auld Reekie doing what they needed to do, starting to close that gap. Emerald City came out very strong the first 2 jams or so of this, got lead, got points, and called it, but Auld Reekie has been doing that now for the last few jams in a row.
The morning show and day of the show and leading up to the show.
No power jams so far in the second, which is what Auld Reekie really needed to work on. So good control. Now Emerald keeps starting these jams with 2 blockers in the pack, and that's going to let you give up lead jammer most of the time. Then Emerald's going to have to start working on their penalties, controlling that. Currently they're going to start with a 4-3 pack disadvantage here. If they can keep their skaters on the floor and keep performing the way they've been performing, again, great skaters on both these teams, those deltas working perfectly when you have enough skaters to do it.
And that was the second team timeout taken by Emerald City. They have 1 left. Auld Reekie still has all 3. Admiral Attack Bar getting through with a quickness. Lead jammer for Auld Reekie. Psychotic Rage just brushes off a shoulder check from Ciderella. Gets away from Crazy Legs to complete her initial pass. Coming around to try and catch up to Admiral Attack Bar, but Admiral Attack Bar playing it safe. Only going to get 2 points, but calls it off. No points, Emerald City.
And Nickel and Diamond their way back into this bout. Well, they were a long way from out of it, but now 94-117. Only a 23-point lead for Emerald. Emerald, again, being down 1 blocker on that caused them to have to give up lead jammer. And now with 3 lead jams in a row for Auld Reekie. But nobody in the penalty box to start this off, so we'll see how well they can do.
Kelly Boylan lining up for Emerald City against Caitlin O'Carroll for Auld Reekie. Caitlin O'Carroll looking for the outside, but Lady Bullseye cuts her off. And now Gemini, Lady Bullseye, and Tenatural forming up, not two-wall only, Tenatural and Lady Bullseye, but Tenatural and Lady Bullseye execute perfectly, knocking Caitlin O'Carroll out of bounds, recycling her all the way around the turn. Kelly Boylan up front for Emerald City, getting the same treatment from Skinner Alive and Mimi Riot, but they are unable to knock her out. Kelly Boylan is lead jammer for Emerald City.
That's going to give Kelly Boylan, if you keep all 4 blockers on your pack and keep working the way they are, that's going to go a long way. She's able to get through the pack. 5 points there for Emerald City. And if they can stay out of the penalty box for the rest of the game, they'll be able to continue this lead.
Skinner Alive with a double hip check to Kelly Boylan, driving her backwards, in fact. A lot of power behind those hips. But velocity going to the penalty box, that leaves only 3 blockers on the track for Auld Reekie. But look at Caitlin O'Carroll still struggling to get out of bounds. Tenatural forcing her out, but gets a penalty.
Forearm call on Tenatural when knocking out Carolyn O'Connor.
I was watching Kelly Boylan. She was calling it off, but getting dangerously close to crossing the line and negating her call off.
One of those where you're trying to call it off, like, please see it, please get the 4th whistle, please get the 4th whistle. I don't want the skating out of bounds penalty. And it was avoided. And it looks like we're going to start this one with a 3-on-3. But 125-94, 31-point advantage. Emerald City answering that now. 17-15 lead jammers in favor of Auld Reekie.
So far the teams almost exactly tied in the second half. The score differential continues to oscillate right around 30 points so far. Admiral Attack Bar fights her way past Rex Havoc, but gets a blocking with the head called. Now this short skater, that's probably a call she gets more frequently than some other skaters.
Guess. And I've seen a lot of these calls. The refs have been watching it for it here at the Big O. You can't use your head to push someone out of the way and get around.
But Wonder Dread having difficulty completing her initial pass. She is on the power jam, but only on her initial pass. But this is yet another power jam, the first power jam given up in the second half. Wonder Dread somehow stays in bounds, just ducks under the armpit of Crazy Legs.
Wonder Jam already 59 points in, and will still get the jammer point on this because Admiral Attack Bar, though, out of the box but came in behind her, so she will get that ghost point if she's able to exit the pack there.
Well, she was on her initial pass when she got the penalty, so she just completed her initial pass. But Auld Reekie holding Emerald City to only 1 scoring pass, and she only gets 3 on the power jam.
But that's 3 points for Emerald, 0 points for Auld Reekie, so their score increases there by 34-point lead. 128-94. Like you were saying, Bulldog, very close scoring here in the second period. Emerald City with 25 on the board, Auld Reekie with 21, so only a 4-point advantage.
Bint Imperial jamming for Auld Reekie. Moves to the inside, Gemini and Aerial Striker there, and on the outside, Aerial Ogden and Lady Bullseye. Bint Imperial gets cutting the track. And it looks like they're sending her around again. It looked like she was actually just got 1 foot over the line of no return, but the penalty timer says no, she's got to go around again.
So she does the walk of shame, and that's going to add some more time.
But Psychotic Rage now completing her first scoring pass on the power jam. Second power jam of the second half, and both of them have gone to Emerald City. Psychotic Rage hopping across, calls off the jam, and as you say, they ice the jammer, so Auld Reekie will not be able to field a fresh one in the next one.
Make her go back again, especially after doing that line. And this is what we were talking about, Bulldog. Auld Reekie needed to keep their jammers on the floor. This is their 9th power jam they've given up so far, and now currently Emerald City sitting with 57 points to 23 on the power jam. Power jam being the bread and butter for Emerald City here, especially as we go into the second half. This is the first one, just about halfway through, so.
Kelly Boylan on the power jam for Emerald City. Auld Reekie so far keeping her in the pack. Crazy Legs and Yin and Bang by themselves. Caitlin O'Carroll dropping back to bridge, but they stretch it out too far. Free pass for Kelly Boylan, but that's enough time for Bint Imperial to come back in. Good penalty kill for the remainder of Bint Imperial's penalty. Now Kelly Boylan on her first scoring pass. Does not pass Bint Imperial, but does get 4 points.
And Bint Imperial managed to get out of the box and ran in. Here comes a timeout from Auld Reekie. Auld Reekie fallen behind a lot further more recently. Advantage now 48 points for Emerald City. Emerald City been firing on all cylinders. They were getting in a little penalty trouble earlier. Now corrected that, have kept their blockers on the floor, have not had a problem with power jams at all. Haven't been sending a jammer to the box so far in the second period, while a few trips now for Auld Reekie here in the second. And that's going to give out points of 57 to 23 power jams. 39 points now for Emerald City in the second half, only 21 for Auld Reekie. Why they're down 48 points, but 14 minutes, 32 seconds left. Still a long time left in this game. But Auld Reekie's going to have to start firing on all cylinders, keep their jammer on the floor, keep their blockers on the floor, just stay out of penalty trouble.
Indeed. Now, Emerald City did give up a few clusters of penalties, but only to blockers so far in the second half. So Auld Reekie was able to capitalize a little bit on those pack advantages, but the real advantage is when you take your opponent's entire scoring apparatus, aka the jammer, off of the track, and they cannot score any points. That's the best defense. The easiest one as well. But lead jammer goes to Admiral Attack Bar very quickly through the back. Psychotic Rage Wonder Dread jamming for Emerald City. She gets out just ahead of Admiral Attack Bar's first scoring pass. So this could only be 4 points. We'll see when the score comes up. And it's only going to be 3 points for Auld Reekie.
Admiral Takbar now going to be at 40 points for the game. Wonder Dread 62 points out there for Emerald City, but nothing gained on that one. Great work by Admiral Takbar. Recognized she was coming. She got hit out of bounds, called off the jam. And Emerald City, again, no one in the penalty box. Auld Reekie down one blocker. We'll see if that advantages Emerald City at all.
That's Yin and Bang standing in the penalty box for Auld Reekie. Lilo and Stitches jamming for Auld Reekie against Psychotic Rage, who's tiptoes and tap dances around Crazy Legs and gets lead jammer just barely on her toe stops, staying in bounds. The outside pack ref was watching, and he said no, she stayed in. That's a grand slam. This time Psychotic Rage getting through easily. Lilo and Stitches completing her initial pass, but she's a full lap and a half behind the Emerald City jammer, Psychotic Rage, who comes in on a second scoring pass.
Psychotic Rage sitting at 43 points as she came in. Another 2 points added to that, so she'll be at 45. Amazing work by Psychotic Rage. Lead jammer now switching towards Emerald City. Emerald City with the very small lead, 19 to 18 lead jammers. So lead jammer really swapping back and forth, not really a factor in this game at all. Power jams, the big factor. These teams very evenly matched, but Emerald just capitalizing on their power jams so far.
Admiral Attack Bar almost gets out, but Amber Coop knocks her out of bounds. She has to recycle. Kelly Boylan jamming for Emerald City, gets around Skinner Alive and Moby Quick, then gets lead jammer. Admiral Attack Bar finding her way free of the pack, but Kelly Boylan hits the pack first, runs into Skinner Alive and Moby Quick. Mini Riot covering the inside lane, but Kelly Boylan calling it off. No points. Auld Reekie holding firm. No points for Emerald City.
But more time comes off the clock, the time of the jam and the 30 seconds between it. So good job there. The clock starting to turn into Auld Riekie's enemy as they're down by 52 points now. They're going to need to do some big jams, some multi-pass points. Get those points on the board so they can catch up with Emerald City.
Bent Imperial against Ariel Ogden. Bent Imperial following Ariel Ogden out of the pack, but Ariel Ogden gets through clean. Bent Imperial gets a cut. And it's going to be a third power jam for Emerald City. No power jams yet for Auld Riekie.
Here in the second period.
In the second period, yes.
But yeah, good defensive work on that. Nice spin-a-rana move, and that's another 5 points up in the air for Emerald City.
Second scoring pass, Rex Havoc in motion to try and break up the Auld Riekie defense, but they get Ariel Ogden out of bounds. And Ariel Ogden looks over, I think she saw Bent Imperial standing up and opted to call off the jam. 3 more points for Emerald City.
Not a bad plan. Bent Imperial been in 10 jams so far, only 23 points. So averaging 2.3 points a jam, because I can do very simple math like that. But they also saw Admiral Attack Bar putting the star on the side. Now out there with the pivot cap on. What could that possibly mean, Bulldog?
I'm sure it doesn't mean anything at all. There's nothing to see there, folks. Admiral Attack Bar in on the defense. Velocity and Mini Riot unable to engage Admiral Attack Bar, whiffing with a couple of hip checks. Wonder Dread gets out with lead jammer. Bent Imperial back on the track. She's taking the star off, but Amber Coop sees it and they're cutting her off, but Admiral Attack Bar was able to snatch the jammer cover away. But now Emerald City's blockers furiously guarding. Gemini has to drop back to bridge. Lady Bullseye almost cuts off the door, but Admiral Attack Bar squeezes through and now has the jammer star on.
Can I say how much I love the new rules clarification where you can put the jammer star on outside and that's not a penalty? Because I didn't understand that one when it was. But so a big 5 points there for Emerald City. Emerald City now up 65 points, 162-97. Also 4 additional lead jammers. Emerald City been getting lead a lot more in the last little bit. Now sitting 22-18, 55% lead. Emerald City starting to put their foot down. Under 9 minutes.
They've benefited very much from these 3 power jams in the second half. Now with a 65-point lead, they've doubled their lead. Now remember, they got 30. They jacked up to that 30-point lead with 2 power jams, and now have gone up to 65 points. Now with 3 more power jams, so they've got 5 power jams in a row to get that 65-point lead. So you know, Emerald City, I'm sure they're telling their jammers, skate very, very clean.
Looking at the stats, actually, that one gets called. They have a 65-point lead. Emerald City has scored 65 points on power jams, while Auld Riekie's only 23. You eliminate those power jams, you eliminate that lead. So 8 minutes left. Auld Riekie down by 61. They do cross the century mark with that last jam, 101 to 162. But Emerald City doing a great job controlling the pace of this game, except now 2 blockers in the box. Admiral Attack Bar able to get out there. Emerald City doesn't keep their players out of the box, then Auld Riekie has a lot less steep of a hill to climb.
Admiral Attack Bar slides through the pack, gets 4 points, calls off the jam. But great job by Ariel Ogden getting out of the pack and forcing that call off.
Yeah, the last thing Emerald City wants to do right now is let multiple passes happen with their jammers stuck in the pack, because they've done a fantastic job keeping their jammer out of the box. And he gave up 5 power jams in the first half, nothing in the second half. Emerald City playing a little conservatively with their jammers, but unfortunately their blockers still 2 in the box, so only 2 on the floor.
Bent Imperial sees the opening on the outside. Double Destruction gets credit for that one, I think. Distracting and forcing the Emerald City blockers to the inside. Bent Imperial now lead Jammer on a scoring pass. Just busts right by Gemini. Gets the outside lane. Patty Sutherland and Rex Havoc are there, but Bent Imperial just dodges both of them, getting out for a grand slam. Wonder Dread still in the pack, and now finally getting around Velocity. But Bent Imperial on her second scoring pass and gets, oh, it looks like a misconduct penalty.
As she was coming into the pack, she tried to leap around the blocker and made contact as she was leaping. That's going to be a misconduct and another power jam for Emerald City.
That is 6 power jams in a row, including the last 2 at the end of the period that are unanswered or not given up, not reciprocated by Emerald City.
Exactly. Now, Auld Reekie has been doing a good job defensively on the power jams, but when you're so heavily outnumbered on power jams, and Wonder Dread, another 5 points on the board. Wonder Dread sitting 77 points so far.
Auld Reekie only giving up 1 scoring pass during that power jam. Bent Imperial back on the track. But remember, she was on her second scoring pass. She already, and now gets around, completes the scoring pass for 4.
Wonder Dread answers with another 4 points of her own. Penalty box empty right now.
And we will go the full 2 minutes, so that jam clock will end the jam. Now they're on matching scoring passes right now. Bent Imperial facing a fierce defense from Gemini, but Gemini stumbles out of bounds. She gets past Patty Sutherland, now runs into Rex Havoc. Patty Sutherland moving up. Bent Imperial not making that last pass. She gets a no pass, no penalty. 3 points on the last pass, 1 for Emerald City.
Auld Reekie chipping away at this lead, but we're down under 5 minutes, still down by 60 points. They're going to have to start playing all out, get some big points up on the board if they want to stay continued in this game. Not out of it, but it is kind of close. Official timeout being taken. Not sure what the reasoning is exactly. The referees huddling together. Very well run game so far. I believe, Bulldog, this is our first official timeout we've had today in this game.
I think you're right. Clock frozen at 4 minutes, 35 seconds. Emerald City 60 points ahead at 177. Auld Reekie 117.
So some great play from both of these teams. Admiral Attack Bar at 44 points for the bout right now. Ogden been out there 7 jams, only picked up 13 points though. And only 2 leads, so a 33%. Admiral Attack Bar at a 63% for picking up leads. Been in 17 jams, gotten lead 10 times. So we'll find out exactly what the referees are talking about. I'm gonna guess penalty issues, as it's taking a little while to get fixed, but understandable, making sure that everything wants to be right.
But Auld Reekie right now in dire straits. They have a huge mountain to climb in order to, if they want to win this game. I mean, really, they need the Emerald City Jammer to go to the penalty box and then handcuff her to the penalty box and just not let her out in order to overcome this deficit. I don't think that's allowed in the rules, though.
Probably not.
Not yet.
But yeah, Auld Reekie, as you're saying, has to do a lot of work, has to have some pristine defense, fire off on all cylinders, control the opposing jammer while getting their jammer through for multiple points. So they are down 60, 4 minutes, 35 seconds. Not insurmountable, but a tough road to hoe.
Now, I think if one of her teammates, one of the Emerald City skaters, was to do the handcuffing, that would be allowed.
That would be perfectly allowed. You can do that to your own teammates.
Why would they do that? Ariel Ogden
a high block.
Through, but gets a high block. Didn't see where the contact was made. But this is the first power jam in the second half given up by Emerald City.
I believe she made contact with Mini Riot on that as her head as she was trying to hop, skip, and jump through the inside. So this is exactly what they need, a power jam to start this off here as time starts ticking away. But Admiral Attack Bar, no luck getting through the pack. Amazing defensive work by the Emerald City blockers.
Emerald City blockers on fire right now. This is the toughest pass that I think Admiral Attack Bar has had the entire game so far, but she finally does it, but that eats a lot of time. Ariel Ogden already standing up, and she leaves no scoring passes during the power jam.
If she can beat her in the pack, though, she should get the extra pack because Ogden did come out behind her. We'll see if she managed to make one pass in there.
Ariel Ogden getting away from Mini Riot and Moby Quick to complete her initial pass, but Admiral Attack Bar continuing to get repelled. Guess they have the shields up after all.
Right, it's true. And 3 points is all they get on that power jam. Amazing work by Emerald City's defense. Emerald City doing everything they need to do, keeping their blockers out of the box. Yes, their jammer went to the box, but that's the first power jam they coughed up in the second period, and we have 3 minutes left.
And a disappointing 3 points for Auld Reekie in that power jam.
Lilo and Stitches 25 points of her own so far.
5-on-5 in the pack. Lilo and Stitches moving right up the center. Rex Havoc catches her just in time, but they're rapidly approaching the end of the engagement zone and a free pass. And Lilo and Stitches is lead jammer.
Good defensive work, except Pope and O'Carroll making head contact, slamming noggins together at the back of the pack.
Psychotic Rage getting out, completing her initial pass. Lilo and Stitches now leaps out of the pack, calls off the jam just in time, and does get a 4-0 jam, but now time down to only 2 minutes.
Emerald City sitting on their 1 review and 1 timeout, and Auld Reekie with 2 timeouts and their review left. But choosing to let the clock go under 2 minutes left.
Yeah, this really would be a good time management idea to call a timeout, but they can't hear us talking. So.
It's fortunate because otherwise people would accuse us of stuff.
Now this time, Admiral Attack Bar getting through with ease. Just Amber Coop almost catching her, but not able to. Only 2 blockers on the track, of course. Lady Bullseye comes across with a shoulder check, knocking down Admiral Attack Bar, who's trying to get through. And she's not going to get anything. That would have been Ghost Points heaven, but nothing.
Again, Emerald City with 2 blockers. Now, Emerald City's been playing fantastic game when they have their blockers on the floor, but a bad habit of sending them off 2 at a time. So a 4-2 pack advantage. Admiral Attack Bar was able to take advantage of that, but great defensive work by the blockers that were on the floor, seeing the jump coming and heading it off, stopping it in its tracks. So a big goose egg, and we're down to under 1 minute remaining in the game. This could be our last jam, Bulldog.
Indeed, and they could have had another 30 seconds on there potentially if they'd called that timeout, which would have left more time to potentially have another jam, but we'll see if that comes back to bite them. Lilo and Stitches up front. Spunky Bruiser, who just recently graduated from juniors, by the way, is now skating with Emerald City, but Lilo and Stitches getting out for the jammer. Okay. Ariel Ogden up front. Crazy Legs and Caitlin O'Carroll in the 2-wall in the front. But Ariel Ogden finally fighting them.
1 blocker on the floor. Timeout being called as Auld Reekie calls off the jam, calls the timeout immediately. 49-point difference between these 2 teams right now. 4 seconds on the clock.
Okay, so it worked out for Auld Reekie after all. They were able to call the timeout and enforce 1 more jam.
But still down 1. They're down a lot of time. Couple of minutes, or a minute or so they could have saved using that extra timeout, and you can always use your review. Oh, it's not a timeout. Don't tell anybody. It's a secret. So again, Emerald City, 2 blockers in the penalty box to start this off.
And 49 points behind Emerald City. So in all likelihood, the best chance Auld Reekie has is just to finish strong.
I think really you have to play for the points, try and screw up the betting and beat the point spread. That's what they're really going for right now. And of course, rankings, there's some sort of
magic formula.
Yeah, I don't understand it. As soon as you say a logarithm, I quit paying attention and my eyes glaze over. So down by 49. Lead jammer Auld Reekie now actually 3 ahead, 25-22.
And both teams have all of their bench standing up right now, encouraging their teammates. Admiral Attack Bar does go out of bounds, but she recovered enough. The referee says she comes in clean. That's going to be lead jammer, but here comes Wonder Dread jamming for Emerald City right behind Admiral Attack Bar.
Admiral Attack Bar with 47 points. Oh, add another 4 to that, 51 points. So far in this game, another 4 points answered by Wonder Dread. Wonder Dread with 86 points for Emerald City.
Yeah, on that pass, Auld Reekie did a fantastic, too good a job, in fact, of opening up the inside lane because Admiral Attack Bar got through easily, but Wonder Dread followed her through the exact same hole. And now passing Admiral Attack Bar, she hasn't lapped her, but did get out of the second scoring pass, and Admiral Attack Bar only getting 3 points on the second scoring pass, so 8-7 so far. Emerald City now getting 4 more, giving them 12 points. Admiral Attack Bar gets out, but Rex Havoc, well, they made skate-on-skate contact, but it was natural skating motion, no penalty. But Admiral Attack Bar does get all 4 that time, so 12-11 in this jam. Emerald City just ahead by 1 point so far.
Oh, hit out of bounds by Rex Havoc. Good work by the Auld Reekie defense, realizing, hey, we have to stop this jammer to get more points on, and so they do. Unfortunately for them, Emerald realizing the same thing, and both jammers get stymied in the pack.
Admiral Attack Bar forging ahead, but she and Wonder Dread both on matching scoring passes. And Emerald City ahead by 1 point. There's 4 more, giving Emerald City 16. Admiral Attack Bar looking back, not very happy to see Wonder Dread coming up behind her and potentially laughing. Admiral Attack Bar gets 3, calls it off. No more points for Wonder Dread, but a +2 differential ends the last jam.
Called the jam with about 10 seconds left on the jam time. Realized they just would have been giving up points. What an amazing game, Bulldog. Emerald City, the unofficial score 193, Auld Reekie 139.
That was a 193 Emerald.
Yes, and then 139 Auld Reekie. Yes, exactly that. So that's unofficial right now, but I think we can safely call this game for Emerald City. Emerald City, amazing work out there. They did lose the lead jammer 26-22, but the power jams 13-6. Emerald City on the power jam, picking up 75 points versus 23. So an extra 52 points picked up on the power jam, 51 points. But congratulations to Emerald Reekie for having a fantastic tournament, going 2-2. And congratulations to Emerald City as they close their tournament for the weekend with a big win here, track 1 at the Big O.
But that is their theme song, Oh Mickey, but they sing it as Auld Reekie, you're so fine.
All right,
dancing around, getting a lot of love from the audience.
As the conga line goes off, we'll sign off here. My name is Phil Dirt with Bulldog, and a special thanks to...
A special thanks to who?
Special thanks to Mike Checks from the Big O, Eugene, Oregon. He on the flip side.
Hello and welcome to the Derby Deeds event desk here at the Big O at Eugene, Oregon. We're brought to you by Adam Wheels and the new Boom Wheels lineup. And I'm here with Pitch It, and we have a quick score update for you after this Actually, really interesting and hard-hitting game between Emerald City and Auld Reekie.
The score doesn't, we say this a ton, right? Score doesn't reflect the gameplay. Auld Reekie is scrappy, like crazy scrappy, and so they play hard roller derby, and ECRG had to work for this win, but they pulled it out 193 to Auld Reekie's 142, so good game for both teams.
A few minutes into the a few minutes away from the halftime moment, they were neck and neck. Emerald City pulled out about a 30-point lead right before halftime, and then a 50-point win, 193 to 142. So very good game for Emerald City, and strong work from Auld Reekie all weekend long. We have an update from track 2. They're about 13 minutes behind because there was an injury. Axel Fury was taken away on a stretcher, so we wish them all the best of luck and good vibes to Kokeshi and Axel Fury. At the last moment that we were looking at the score before they restarted play, it was 281 Pikes Peak to Kokeshi's 32. However, Pikes Peak down to 10 players because of penalties. So over on track 3 earlier, we have a score update. The Rosebuds over the Grom Shells, 260 to 161. But the game that's going on right now, Seattle Derby Brats versus the I-5 Roller Girls. I-5 up 96 to 91 at halftime. So as soon as you're done checking in with us, go check out track 3. That game is fantastic. Every time these two teams play.
Right, it's a rivalry, right?
Yes.
So you should expect this kind of gameplay out of those two teams. I-5, phenomenal. But the skate skill in Seattle in general, just amazing. So it shouldn't be a surprise. It
was funny, I was talking to a few people outside as they were warming up, and they were described as the Gotham and the Ole of Junior Derby right now, with I-5 being the Gotham with the cool, calm demeanor, fantastic execution, and Seattle Derby Brats being the Ole, which is the knocking on the door, fierce, scrappy play, and so very interesting parallels.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty accurate.
Coming up right behind us on track 1, we've got your home team.
Arizona, AZRD, the Tent City Terrors are going to be playing against Silicon Valley. Hard to say what's going to come out of this game. Last year at
Dust
Devil, thank you. Silicon Valley beat Arizona, and it was unreasonable at the time, right? Arizona should have won that game. So Arizona out for blood this time around. Not sure what Silicon Valley is going to bring. We'll see.
On track 2, we've got Kansas City versus Terminal City, which for me is the game of the day in the WFTDA play. That's going to be a fantastic game, especially after what we saw from Terminal City this morning. We're hoping to have good stats from that game. Mike Checks is going to be our stats guy for that game, hopefully. So we'll let you know after that game. And on track 3, Rose City is going to take on Treasure Valley. I think Treasure Valley has a very uphill battle for them.
Yeah, clearly, right? Rose City's on a tear. They're gonna want to get even a little bit from their Texas game last night. I think they're going to take it out on Treasure Valley. We'll see.
And I talked to Scylla Devour out in the hallway as we were walking over here to do the show. She's fired up and ready to go.
She is amazing. I would never want to skate against her. Never.
And her word of the day is defense. Defense, 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 and not to let them score. So as we are seeing point differentials being very important and something that teams are very aware of as they're going into the games.
Yep.
So
well, they need to max it out, right, in order to help their rankings.
And so while it may not be the best to watch as a spectator, it's understandable for the rankings calculator. So yay, rankings calculator.
Well, for the super fan, it's right. You get it. You understand why they're doing it, and you understand why it has to happen that way, and then you just have to find something else to enjoy about the game, and you start getting into the strategy and into the minutia of the game. And if you're not a super fan now, start looking that direction, right? Start trying to pay attention to what's happening on the track in the minutia, right? The little tiny details are really important to these teams. They know every detail, and so if you want to be in the game beyond these big point spreads, get into that part of it, because the strategy is amazing.
And we've been paying attention a lot to flat track stats over the last couple of hours, and like we said, we had a lot of really good and really close games out of Beach Brawl with some 2-point, 3-point, 4-point differentials, and then the earlier game with Terminal City beating Ole by 9 points, 139 to 130. So lots of really good derby across the country and around the world. And we are going to be back after the Arizona Silicon Valley game. And we will give you the updates from that game, the updates from Kansas City versus Terminal City, and what we've got from Rose City versus Treasure Valley. Stay tuned to the Puget Sound versus Bridgetown game tonight on the men's side, because that is going to be a fantastic game.
Yeah, those two are definitely fighting for positions on a regular basis, and so that's a game to watch.
Our final women's WFTDA game of the night is going to be Philly versus Ole. And I think that after seeing both of them play this weekend, I think it's going to be a very good matchup.
Right, it's a closer match for sure.
All right, so for the derbydeeds.com event desk here at the Big O, thank you for watching. We're brought to you by Adam Wheels. Huge thanks to Adam Wheels for making all of this possible. Huge thanks to Blaze Streaming Media for getting us out to you guys out there in the world. And thanks to Pitch It for sitting in with me.
Oh, thank you, Megatron. It's good times.
All right, we'll be here after the Arizona Silicon Valley game. We'll see you then.